Thank you. What a warm welcome. Thank you very much, Sandro. Thank you. I remember being a young child and was able to set the table for the first time. I was excited to get these dishes out of the cupboard, and I went and I put them on the table. And they were so beautiful. I had never seen these dishes before. They were white with beautiful purple flowers around the plate. They were beautiful. I set them beautifully on the table, and then my old school Italian mother came, and she looked at them and she said, "Gabriella! No, 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 no. These dishes are for special occasions only. Natale, Christmas, compleanno, birthday. No, 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 no. Put the dishes away, Gabriella." So she made me put those dishes away. And I had to take out our everyday dishes. They were for a special occasion. Have you ever saved something for a special occasion? Do you have a special dress that you haven't worn yet because you're saving it for a special occasion? A pair of shoes? That really special bottle of wine that you're waiting to open for that right day? Or maybe, are you waiting to tell someone that you appreciate them one day? Does one day ever come? Friends, I'm here to tell you a little bit of a journey that I've been through. And it's helped me realize that if you want to take action and if you want one day to come, it needs to go in your calendar. I remember in my 20s, I was struggling. I was upset because the worst part of my day was when I laid my head on my pillow at night. It felt like someone was pouring buckets of bugs all over me. The itching that I had at night was extreme. It was so bad that I had a fork in my nightstand and I would itch my forearms and my legs, and I would leave blood trails because I had to itch so much. I had incontinence, I had tingling, I had numbness, brain fog. I had so many symptoms that the doctor didn't understand what was going on. I had a wonderful neurologist who sent me for test after test, evoked potential, MRI, spinal tap. I had so many. And in the end, when I was 30 years old, I was sitting in my neurologist's office. She rolled her chair close to mine. Our knees were touching. She grabbed both of my hands tightly. They were so cold, I could feel the chill going up my spine. She leaned in and looked deep into my eyes. I could tell by looking at her that something was wrong. We collectively both took a deep breath. And that's when she said, "Gaby, you have multiple sclerosis." I was diagnosed with a disability at the age of 30. My life changed when she told me in that moment that I had lesions and plaques in my brain. Some were close to my cerebellum, which controls your motor skills. So she said, "Gaby, within 10 years, you will be in a wheelchair. You need to start planning for that." She said, "You need to change your style of living. You need to think about how that's going to impact your life and your family." I was engaged at that time, and I thought, is my fiance going to want to marry me? Can I have kids? Can I quit my job like I've always wanted to become an entrepreneur? How is this disability going to change me? For several years, I admit, I lived in silence. I was miserable. I had a hard time dealing with the changes that were cast upon me. And then I had an epiphany. One Monday morning, someone came into work and they were complaining. Does anyone here know a complainer? Raise your hands. Right? Some people at the back were raising 2 hands and standing. And that person was complaining on Monday as if that was their punishment for the weekend that they just had. And I thought to myself, do I look like that? Do I look like that complainer? And then I started to notice people were complaining about the red light and the weather and that they were broke. Can anybody relate to that? It's cold out there, isn't it? Yeah. And then I started to realize complaining isn't going to help me with my health situation. And that was the first lesson that I learned, was to cut the complaints, cut the excuses. One passion that I actually have in my life is to learn about the human brain and how it works. I'm not a scientist or an MRI specialist or a doctor. I just genuinely want to know how the brain works. And did you know that the brain actually doesn't know the difference between a belief and reality? So the more I complained about my disease, the more I was conditioning my brain to believe that it was a bad thing. But you know what? It wasn't. Because what it allowed me to do was finally, after several years, come forward. And I met with other people that had MS. And I stood on stages and I inspired them. And I met with newly diagnosed people, young, old, it didn't matter, to let them know that we can live a normal life. So cutting my complaints helped me. The other thing that helped me was something that I want to preface by saying no judgment, because I wonder if there are some people in the room that do this. When you wake up in the morning, are there any people in the morning that roll to the side, go to your nightstand, and pick up your cell phone? Right? Again, no judgment. I know many of us do. Some of you aren't admitting it. Come on, who does that? Raise your hand. Right. And that's okay. But here's the thing. That's okay. Here's the thing. If that's our very first thing that we do in the morning, what we're doing is we're giving people our time, our precious time. If someone has sent you emails throughout the night because they want answers to the report of why it's late or why the budget doesn't match or how many sales calls did you do, you're waking up with that anger? How about waking up with intention? It's okay if we look at social media and emails and the news, but how about the first thing that we do when we wake up in the morning is to set our intention. This is what I want to achieve today. This is how I am going to make the day the best that it can be. This is how I want to inspire people with my story. And that's exactly what I've done, and I ask for you to as well. I know everybody in this room has a story. Think about your story. What can you do to wake up with intention and cut the excuses? The third thing that I realized was the journey. I was so focused on finding my purpose and reaching my destination that I actually forgot to enjoy the journey to get there. It's okay that I have MS. It's okay if people in this room have challenges. We all have issues and concerns and stress in our lives. But if we can focus on the journey and be happy with the journey, then doesn't that now become our new destination? Let me say that again. Instead of focusing on the destination, focus on enjoying the journey. And that now becomes your destination. My message to you today is to take each day as if it were your last. Yesterday is gone. We cannot control it. Tomorrow is unknown. We don't know what's going to happen. But today is here, right now. And we have the impact to make it as loving and wonderful as we possibly can. So if you have that bottle of wine, crack it open. If you have that wonderful pair of new shoes, wear it to the grocery store. Think about all the things where you say one day, and let's not save it for that special occasion. Recently, when I went for dinner at my mom's house, I wanted her to have the same epiphany that I had. So I said, Ma. Actually, I did it more like this, Ma, as we speak with our hands. She had her plain everyday dishes on the table, but I started to collect them, and I said, today, Ma, we're using your fine china with the purple flowers. And we did just that. It was a normal Tuesday night dinner, and we had dinner with special dishes. And you know what else was special that day? That was the day that she let me take the plastic off of the couch. Thank you.